All right, guys. Another huge challenge for us as a team. Getting back to a normal practice week, normal practice schedule. Have a padded practice today, and it seems like it's been a few days since we could really, kind of get out and have a normal full speed kind of practice with the short week coming off of a couple games. It's nice to be back at home again, third game in a row at home. I thought last week's atmosphere was unbelievable, and expecting and hoping to have that same great atmosphere this weekend. Just to give you guys an update on Andrew Booth did have successful surgery to repair that meniscus injury, which ultimately will mean he'll be out for the remainder of the season. And we just want to pour into Andrew and make sure he knows that he's got all the resources and support in the world in our building to get back and be ready to roll in the springtime. Which will be, it was good to make sure we got that thing fixed and get him back on a path to returning as soon as possible. In addition to that, Ben Ellefson did get activated to the roster. His window would have closed today for the season if we did not. So we'll see how he does this week. Still kind of seeing if we'll potentially have him available or not moving forward, but that will be determined based upon, kind of this week in practice and ultimately if Ben's going to be able to help us. But he's done everything in his power to get back and should get Caleb Evans and Dalvin Tomlinson back in a pretty darn full capacity today. Keep you guys updated as far as statuses for the weekend as we move forward. But with that, I'll open it up to you guys.
So is Evans out of the protocol?
He's in kind of the final phase of it, which is full speed practice, and then just making sure he gets a full day of work in, padded practice, and see how he recovers and if we can kind of move forward with him.
And Darrisaw, what's his status?
Yeah, Darrisaw's still in the protocol. He's made some real strides. We're ultimately, going to kind of be very, very smart with him, as we have been with the Caleb, and just make sure, as I, have talked to CD about, we want him, feeling great and at full capacity when he's able to come back, and not really putting a timetable on it for either this week or beyond. We just want to make sure he's good, and I think when the time's right, we'll have CD back in there.
Kevin, with an injury like a meniscus, when you can do the full repair and it's a longer recovery, or I suppose do the trim and you're back sooner, and then you've got long-term questions. What is your approach to that as a coach if a player's saying, hey, what should I do here?
Yeah, that was purely a medical, thing when they went in there. You can determine a lot off the pictures and MRIs and things, but ultimately it's up to the doctor, when he's able to, the surgeon, when he's able to get in there and really see, percentage-wise what ultimately needs to be repaired versus just kind of cleaned up. So I'm, for the long-term, for Andrew's long-term future and his importance to us, we really wanted to make sure that it was just a pure medical decision. And I know he was disappointed coming out of surgery, but the positive, bright side is he'll be fully healthy and able to have a full off-season when we get rolling.
Are you hopeful that Cameron Dantzler's back when first available?
Yeah, he's done a great job. I know he's really excited to get back when he can. The medical team has been trying to really progress him kind of off to the side and make sure he's doing whatever he can to simulate, different types of practice movements and in-game movements. So when we do activate him, the hope is that it'll be an activation and he'll be able to be out there with us the following Sunday.
What stands out about Garrett Bradbury's progression this season and what you've seen from him?
Yeah, my expectation was for Garrett to have a really good season for us. I thought coming into it, really studying him and all of his skill sets for our fit in our offense, I thought, he would be what he's been able to be for us, and that's been just incredibly consistent, running the show for us. The relationship with Kirk their communication throughout games and in-game has been huge for us. And then I think physically he's, really done a lot of really good things in the run and pass game, kind of fitting with what we want to do. So I'm really happy with the type of season Garrett's had so far, and hoping to continue to just get that consistent play out of him that we've gotten moving forward.
In the offseason, you guys had talked about seeing that there's kind of more you can get out of him, or more that the coaches can, maybe scheme-wise or development-wise, help him kind of go to another level. What kinds of things did you see when you first started looking at that that made you say that?
Yeah, just his athleticism, his ability to move, and both take care of business on the on that front, but also his ability to climb to the second level, get out on screens, do things that tend to be tough tasks for some centers and the type of matchups that they have in this league. I think his ability to work in conjunction with our guards and our run game and our different combinations and different styles of run game we have, he's really taken ownership of it, and it's all about the little things for those guys up front. It's incredibly physical, demanding position, and then mentally taxing as well with what we ask of the center. And he's handled it all of it really, really well, and continued to we talk a lot about some of our skill players and our quarterbacks growing within the system. I think it's the same thing for a guy like Garrett up front, and he's continued to improve and got off to a good start this year and just kind of stacked good performances on one another.
Kevin, we've had some position groups that have had a lot of different people playing during games, and, and some that are pretty much the same guys. I know health has a lot to do with that, but just curious, as you came in here for your first year, what your approach would be to playing time and how you would determine those types of rotations and which positions would see a lot of different guys out there and which wouldn't.
Yeah, I think, a lot of times up front, especially defensively, you want to make sure that you've got fresh guys and the things that they're asked to do, they're able to, really be job specific sometimes with what we're asking them to do, whether it's early downs, known passing downs, and then really what it looks like when you're attempting to get after the quarterback with maybe more of a rush group, things like that up front. I think EK and Jordan Hicks have been really consistent and played a lot of snaps for us. I'd like to continue to find ways to get Brian Asamoah in there and find ways to use his skill set in addition to what he's been, which is a dominant special teams player that showed up every single week. On the back end, whether it's been because of injury or the different scenarios that have come up, we've seen some different guys out there, and then the nature of that position as well, whether you're talking safety or corner, trying to find a place for like a guy like Josh Metellus to find some snaps in there in addition to the great work he's done on teams. Offensively, it's a little different because we can vary personnel groupings and kind of be in and out of different things, but ultimately, Kevin, I see it as week to week, game to game, and whatever we think as a coaching staff puts our players in the best possible situations to have success against that particular opponent, because every week is a new challenge. It seems like every week is a heck of a defensive challenge for our offense with just the different types of special players at different levels of defenses we've seen lately, and I think our guys are understand the challenge again this week is a heck of a task with this defense and the way they're coached and what Robert does with this team. It's been impressive to see how hard they play. They're fundamentally sound, technique sound, and they've got some really good players on both sides of the ball, really. So a heck of a challenge for us.
As you guys get into this late season stretch of things here, do you do anything different practice-wise to help keep guys fresher?
Yeah, we're coming off of kind of sort of a mini bye, so I want to make sure we get some good work in. It's been, like I said, it's been a few weeks since we've really been able to have a standard practice week. And as I told our team today, they're the best teams in this league, I believe, improve during stretches like this, 3 home games in a row, leading into December, and now we're going to be into December, and that's when you want to play your best football. You want to feel like you've kind of identified the strengths of your team and play to those, while also trying to always improve on areas where there's obviously going to be areas of improvement for any football team as this 17-week kind of grind kicks forward and continues to go. But I talked to our leadership, I talked to our team about the importance of days like today in our progression to being what we ultimately want to be for this stretch run here.
Blake Randall, about how you empower him and other leaders on the team. How do you do that, and how do you make sure you don't give them too much power?
Yeah, I think empowering just it's not giving away power. It's putting them on a platform to use their leadership traits and have an impact on their teammates, because there's no better thing, in my opinion, than when you've got a close-knit locker room with great leadership. You can demand a lot out of a football team that has great leadership and player ownership, because part of player ownership is not just, hey, we get a chance to make decisions and be a part of that. It's making the right decisions in conjunction with what will help us win football games, and that doesn't always mean the easier thing or taking a path of the least resistance. Sometimes it's, hey coach, we need to go today. Like I had 3 or 4 of our guys say today's a big day before I even mentioned to our guys in the team meeting about the importance of a great practice today and preparation. So they get it, they understand, and some of our veterans that have been through successful seasons and really what lies ahead, they know how hard it is, how difficult it is to win in this league, and it's going to take every single guy we have on our roster, and being led by our leadership throughout has been a huge part of our success this year. I do believe that.
Blake Brandel didn't have the best of outings against the Cowboys. What did he do to step his play up against the Patriots, and what do you see from him if he has to go on Sunday against the Jets?
I think it's one of those things where he was pretty darn consistent in his technique and fundamentals, taking advantage of how we were playing the game, while also he's a very physical player. He's a technician. He's very smart, so he can kind of anticipate some things pre-snap that will help him have the best possible fundamentals and technique once that picture may change when the snap happens. And just with the type of rushers, both interior and on the edges that we've played as of late, it's a challenge every single snap. And I think it's one Blake's up to and relies on that guy next to him. I think Ezra's been huge. I think Garrett running the show, putting everybody at ease has been big. And just overall, that line group consistently being led by a guy like Brian O'Neill, who's, in my opinion, been one of our foundational leaders, and his performance level has been very consistent, and that puts you at ease as a play caller and a coach, knowing that no matter, we hope to get CD back soon. We feel strong about our depth, but that right side's been pretty darn effective for us out there on that edge with Brian.
Barstool and you talking about doing the gritty dance. Can you elaborate some of the conversations you and the team are having on that?
I had kind of made had a little conversation with some of our guys and Justin a while back about, more importantly, if I would do it and kind of put some parameters on that. I've got some work to do if that ends up being a reality, and hopefully I'd love to say we could shut the cameras off, but I know around here that's probably not likely.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, thank you guys.